Okay, I'd like to call this meeting of the Berlin-Boylston Regional School Committee's Budget, Facilities, and Safety Subcommittee to order. So today, what we're going to do is we're going to go over the capital plan presented by Mr. Aaron Osborne. And then we'll have a little bit of time to discuss that, and then we're going to touch upon quickly the mission statement that Lisa took the time to complete, which I think is really good. I was thinking maybe we should just vote on that, and then we can push that off to the school committee, to the entire committee. Just vote that we all agree on it, and then we're going to move it forward to Laurie, and who's working on our handbook, and so that she can add that in there. And then the last thing we'll do today is just kind of go over when we want to meet, and what a good calendar is, and some of our goals, who we want to meet with during the year. All right, so
Great.
Without further ado, Aaron, if you want to present this lovely document. Thank you so much.
All right, so I'm just going to go through quickly by line items. Some of them will be a little longer and some will be shorter. On each of the items on the spreadsheets I've shared, it's organized Berlin, Boylston, and Tohoto. The colors are a little bit for my use. Red items are in say fiscal 26 are things that weren't approved or didn't happen. Those get carried over to fiscal 27. We try to adjust the money when we can. Anything green was funded. Anything gray means it's not going forward. It was funded, so it doesn't get pushed forward to future years. Red items in fiscal 27 tell me that we need something for that. So you'll see there's a bunch of dollar signs down there. Dan's going to be getting us some pricing for those items. We're still working on those. So that's typical in all of them. Very first item is mini splits for classrooms at Berlin Memorial. Dan is actually talking to some folks about a grant that may fully fund this. So that would be a huge win. One of the challenges, you'll see it jumped up from 290,000 to 500,000. The 290-some thousand took rebates into account. Those rebates are no longer available. So we're just assuming for a ballpark of 500,000. We're not necessarily planning. This isn't a high priority item, so we're not necessarily coming up with an exact figure in the moment because we don't think it's. Without the grant, we're not sure it's going to happen, especially without any rebates. The roof is an increasingly high priority item. I don't think it's imminent, but there are definitely issues, and that needs to be in the planning at least for the next couple of years. Would be nice to get it done sooner rather than later, but we understand how these things go. The solar panels were a request from someone along the way to just see what solar would look like. My recommendation would not necessarily be to put solar, and Dan's as well, I think, to not put solar on with the new roof, but to do it the following year. A, you sometimes have roof issues. B, the timing becomes challenging. You've got to coordinate one with the other. If there are roof issues, you may have to pull those solar panels off and deal with them and then put them back on. That's a huge cost. So it's better to just make sure the roof is in place. You don't want to do it 20 years after the roof is on because you might have to replace the roof again. So you don't want to have to take them on and off. Repairing, replacing some rooftop units. There's some rooftop units that need some work. Some will be repaired, some replaced. We're looking, you can see we're staging out some tile replacements. So that's looking to be about $65,000 in each of the next 2 years. There are some cracks in the cafeteria and kitchen walls. If you walk along the cafeteria and kind of look, you will see those cracks in the sort of wall developing. It's nothing dangerous. It's mostly settling, movement of things over time. You may see that in like your ceilings at home. You'll get that sort of crap where the tape line is. Same thing, just settling, but it'd be nice to fix some of those up. There are some bathroom partitions that are rusting out. Dan will be getting us some dollars on that, but those are in pretty serious need of replacement. They look terrible, and at some point they're going to start rotting through and damaging more. So then there is a gym exterior door that doesn't close properly. Dan has got a quote for that for $13,000.
Good afternoon, Tom.
That would be a high priority item. Thank you,
We
Tapanta.
get the last of our announcements in.
Just going to see if we can.
First is that.
It goes on for a while, so
Yeah,
just.
okay, I'll
just
talk
go
through it.
She's-
There is a cracked condenser in the kitchen that is dripping. So if you were to go into the Berlin Memorial kitchen, there is a bucket there and it is catching the drips. We really need to get that fixed. That's pretty high priority for us. Dan's going to get us a quote on fixing that cracked condenser. It might mean replacing it and see where it's at. The next few items, carpeting. We'll probably talk to John a little about this, but we will certainly try to stage that out. We'll get pricing for each of the next few years and do it in pieces. If the town then says we have a ton of money, we'd like to do it this year, we'll consolidate it. There's a couple things that happen. It can be hard to replace that much all at once. Just from a cleaning perspective over the summer, it has to be done over the summer. Scheduling a contractor to do all of the work at once. So it is almost in some ways better to do it at least in a couple pieces. But if they think they have the money and they're willing to do it all in 1 year, we might reach out to a contractor and find a way to do that. Finally, there's been some speculative talk about accessible playground equipment. A lot like what's going on at Boylston. They're looking to add some playground equipment and make sure that it is accessible to all students. We will probably look at what the CPA process looks like there. CPA funds have usually been available to fund playground equipment. So, I'll go through that process. If once we're done this year at Boylston, if there's an opportunity to get more money from the CPA, we might do that, see what we can do. So. I do need to touch base with Joe on some of the IT items. We've been missing each other a little bit, but the items for fiscal 27 are pretty secure. The phone system over at Berlin Elementary or Berlin Memorial is old. It's also an analog system, so I don't know if you're familiar with analog versus IP systems. There is some annual cost savings of upgrading to an IP phone system. There's also conversations going on about, for emergency reasons and accessibility reasons, to try to build out a spoke and hub system. So Tohoto would be the hub, and the 2 elementary schools in the central office would be spokes off of that system. It's not hard to do, and once it's up, it's pretty easy to maintain. It reduces costs, and then everyone would be on an extension dialing system. So, we'd have a main dial-in number with extensions. Each school could still have its own main dial-in number, but the extensions would then reach reach people immediately. So I could directly call anyone at Tohoto without dialing, say, the prefixes. I just need their extension number. In an emergency, that can be helpful, rather than going, oh my gosh, what's Tohonto's number? How do I get, Lisa, if I have that preset in my phone, it becomes much easier. So we'd like to look at that. And that's it. I am trying, you will see on the left-hand side at the bottom, I'm trying to put in some key dates so people understand ages of things. So, how old is this building? When was the boiler put in? Things like that. We always get people who say, oh, that boiler's fine, and then we find out it was put in the 1860s, things like that. So, next page, going on to Boylston Elementary. The first item is to try to continue the parking lot update, the repair to the back end. So if the front side of the parking lot was done this past year, we'd like to do the back side. We're estimating that to be around 150 at the moment. We'll get better numbers on that. One of the realities is that Berlin asks for their capital numbers sooner than Boylston, so we're really kind of preparing to make sure we have hard numbers for Berlin a little earlier, and then when we go to Boylston, we'll have those numbers as well. So it's not to put one ahead of the other, with the exception of it's just a logistics item. There's a side playground area at Boylston for predominantly the pre-K students. It is in an awkward area, and we would like to put some fencing around that. There are also some students who may have the propensity to run. I think they're calling it eloping now. It's always funny
Yes.
for me because I think of Romeo and Juliet when I think of
Yeah.
eloping, but
It's not it's loping, I think
Yes.
is the word,
Loping.
without the E in front of it, yeah.
I don't know. I've always heard it's eloping.
Yeah. Yeah.
Whatever.
Yeah.
It's a concern, so we want to try to be up on that.
Yeah.
One of the good notes is the kitchen rooftop unit was repaired, and we don't need to worry about that this year, as well as the gym thermostat. So that was on the item.
I did get a quote for that fence.
Oh, you do?
Yes, 9,740.
Okay.
Tell us what again.
9,740.
Okay. I'm gonna put
Fencing is
9,800
so
right
expensive.
now. Yeah.
That's
Osborne
small.
Fencing will do
It
it for
is.
half that.
It's you.
I won't guarantee the work.
Yeah.
Coming on a Saturday, Aaron?
Joking.
Pay you on cash?
Joking.
Yeah, that's all jokes, that's
joke.
all jokes.
Yep.
Seriously.
There are some bathrooms that need to be updated. They have very old sinks. Some of
Yeah.
Dan can kind of speak to the toilets are in bad shape.
Well, we just already replaced one that was cracked, was
Yeah.
leaking. Over at the gym bathroom, some of the sinks are just like ready to fall themselves.
Yeah.
Very old and it needs to be updated.
Yep. Fair enough.
Sounds like an injury risk even.
Yeah.
Yep.
Falling
Yeah.
someone's
Yep.
foot.
So we have a tractor for some exterior maintenance. We're actually looking at a couple different options. I think you've heard us talk about maybe a robot mower or something like that. So there's things that aren't necessarily a tractor. This isn't a huge high priority item. It's a want rather than a need. So we understand this may get pushed down, but we're also going to continue to look at what would best serve the schools. And particularly Tohoto, where we have to do all the field maintenance ourselves and the mowing. That takes a lot of custodian time, and we're looking at some of those robotic units that, honestly are in the $10,000 range and would save the time of having a custodian go out there so they can spend more time keeping the building safe and clean rather than mowing the fields. So we wouldn't do that without coming to school committee, but we just want to keep that on people's radar screens. Next is replacing window shades. There's a lot of broken window shades in the building. Window shades are important for a couple reasons. One is regulating temperature and energy savings. The other is security. So if shades won't go down, won't go up, or have huge gaps in them, right, those represent potential security issues from the outside. So we'd like to get those replaced. I think Berlin Memorial is doing half of theirs this year. They did half the other year, and that half is about 13,000. So BES is bigger, so I'm going to expect something in the 30,000 range, but Dan's going to work on a quote for that.
You understand the safety part of it, right? So God forbid there was
100%.
something outside, right, looking inside.
Yeah.
Yep, no,
Yes.
100%.
Okay,
You
so
don't even
just-
need to elaborate.
Perfect, thank
Yep,
you.
At least for me.
Okay.
Yeah, thanks.
So a lot of places are moving from traditional wood chips to rubber, the rubber sort of ground for under playgrounds. Really nice, a lot less maintenance. It's a one-time cost versus annual costs of wood chips and constantly having to go through that. So there would be some, ongoing operational savings not having to buy wood chips every year.
Coming home with their shoes.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Well, the
yeah.
rubber still will.
Exactly.
Is
There's
it a
less.
flat piece?
Hmm?
Is it like, are you talking about shredded rubber, or are you talking about a rubber?
I think it's a
Flooring.
be a rubber
Rubber
floor.
flooring.
Rubber flooring?
Oh,
Those are really
I
nice,
totally
yeah.
misunderstood that.
Yeah, yeah, I do
It's
rubber
ADA
floor.
compliant now.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a totally, it's a,
Yeah.
It's no longer like the AstroTurf fields, they have the rubber tires
Yeah.
ground into it.
That's what I thought it was.
No,
Like if you
Oh.
go over here in the back preschool playground, it's just like that.
yeah.
Oh, okay, I like that,
Yeah,
yeah.
that's
That'd
the
be great.
plan.
It's almost
yeah.
like rug, but all made out of rubber.
Yep. Stools for the science lab. I'm going to talk to Rob about that one. That's been on, and with Cindy's departure and stuff like that, there wasn't a really good transition of like how important that is and what that looks like. It's below the threshold for capital, so it was here when I got here as an item. So I think we're just going to look at whether we can do this out of operating funds this year. It's not. It's $1,300. I think we can find the money.
They're waiting for you.
The front door entry system, Joe's looking at pricing for that. So right now at Boylston Elementary, the person who unlocks the front door remotely, like they do here, has to, when someone buzzes, has to go and log into a separate laptop and pull up the app and then let them in. So it's very time consuming. They tend to just walk around and let them in, right? Because it's just not worth their time to do that. And the time
That's
to
at
do-
Boylston Elementary?
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's why
that's
it
what's
takes so
going on at
long.
BS.
But
yeah.
Berlin has the remote she has.
All
Yeah,
these-
and that's what we want to put in.
Yeah.
We just want to put in
She
a
just
quick
presses a
button. It's
button.
a press a button, done.
Over here too, they have the little button.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's-
someone somewhere got
Yeah.
sold on this being a great idea,
Yeah.
and
And I noticed exiting Boylston now, you have to press the button to get out the doors now. Is that new?
The magnetic?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's always been there.
That's always been there when you're
Yeah.
walking out the double doors, not the
It's
first
supposed
set.
to- The sensor's supposed to read you that you're leaving. So it's
Yep.
supposed to release. If it's not released, please let me know.
Yeah. Do you know what doors up the first set of double doors? When you're leaving the building,
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
those are sometimes locked, and you have to
Yeah.
press that button on the right hand
Sometimes you
side.
have to press the button, yeah.
Yep.
So that
I've
means,
never had to press the button.
The
Really?
sensor's not sensing you that you're
It's not
leaving.
sensing you.
Okay, gotcha.
It must be
Yeah.
where you stand when you walk
Standing in the
out.
wrong.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Not
or-
standing in the wrong
To
To be
spot.
honest with you, parent was in front of me, and she couldn't get out, and then I tried getting out, and then I saw the little button on the side, and stuff like that. Okay.
Yes, I've had it stick before,
That's
and
what
then you have
exactly
to
was
kind of back
happening.
up and go again.
Gotcha,
yep,
gotcha.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Okay.
But it will, it does.
Okay, perfect. I never
Might
thought,
not
in
be
case of
perfect.
If
emergency.
you'll let me, I'll check on it
Yes,
tomorrow.
I will. I'm over there tomorrow. Thanks.
yep. So device replacement for all schools still exists. I'm going to sharpen the pencil with Joe when I talk to him. Love to move this to operating budget, but I know there's some implications. As we do budget, every single year I'm going to look and see, is there any room to slide this in? Do we have any opportunity to even nudge up some line items here so we can cut this a little bit and bring operating up? It's a tough one because between the three schools, you can see that's a lot of money to keep our devices. If we want to be a one-to-one school system, that's what we need to have. It's just the reality. Tohonto's, you'll see, is going to be a pretty big number when we get down to it with Joe. They have not had upgrades to their Chromebooks in 2 years. So 25 and 26, that was not funded at either school, at Tohonto in either year. So they are really going to need those devices this year to keep going with one-to-one. It'd be a shame to have the elementaries be one-to-one but not Tohonto, right? If we had to make that concession.
Yeah. It's almost a
Tohonto,
must at that level.
Hmm?
It's almost a must
Yeah.
at that level
Yeah.
because they're doing all of their work on the computer
Right.
versus the elementary schools.
yep. Tohonto is going to have some bigger numbers this year. The reality is they have received the least capital of any school in the past few years, and it's going to catch up to us. So you can see the vast number of red items that were pushed over. Snow blowers, we did repair the roof puncture. They're going to need a floor scrubber. The auditorium lights, if you've been in there, that auditorium lights, those are the actual, they're LED, right? Or are they
Here, fluorescent.
They're fluorescent. They're the fluorescent lighting for the general lighting. Then the further down items, you'll see auditorium theatrical lighting. That is all the spotlights, things like that. All of the auditorium stuff is original to when this building was built. So, it is 13, pushing 14 years old now. A lot of that stuff is becoming pretty outdated, particularly the projector, right? I mean, those are not as long lasting as any else. So we really need to have something on that.
And we rent out the facility a lot, right?
Yep.
So we need to make, hey,
Yep.
Laurie, just watch your cup, don't see your cup, Megan.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay, sorry. I just didn't
Was
wanna
that
say-
like Tiffany?
Yes, so it's just
Yeah.
on the edge, sorry.
Yeah. The
Good catch.
swipe card system is also pretty dated at this point. Access system, I don't know if that's a priority one item.
No, I called a Laurie for a second, sorry about that.
Yeah.
Sorry, Lisa.
We'll look at how high priority that is. We'll talk to Joan, we'll talk to Lisa, see where that is. But that you can see that was a last year item that didn't get done. I'm not sure, and we're going to look at where the track is in terms of needing to be refurbished. It's of course original to the building. So it's 14 years old now. It's,
great.
gets used every year. Kids with spikes, things like that. I don't honestly know what the lifespan is on a track. It was on the capital list when I got here, so I've kept it on. And we need to take a look at it. Maybe we'll ask Julie to see if she can get someone to look at it.
I went out there the other day for soccer practice
Yeah.
that we're out there for, and lane one, that inside track is completely uneven now.
Really?
Yeah, it's
Okay.
really bad. I don't know if water settled underneath it or what, but Joel
Yeah.
Lee walked me around and Peter
Wow.
Doherty showed me it. So
Okay.
lane one is definitely in rough shape that we probably won't be able to use that first lane for any
wow.
track
Who knows what's
event.
gonna happen once we get out there with the grass, like if there's gonna be more damage, or once they start ripping it apart to get in to do the field.
Sure.
If they might cause
Yeah.
more
Yeah.
issues.
Definitely lane one, and they just showed me that one little section, like it's definitely bowing up, right? So there's definitely an issue there.
Okay. So the
That's not
track
gonna be an
is
easy,
there.
that's not gonna be an easy.
Middle school furniture, that number will surely be smaller than 176,000. Lisa's going to take a relook at this, so we got about $30,000. That was the only capital item for Tohoto this past year of middle school furniture. Plus, we had a donation from Fitchburg Schools. Dan and I got in a U-Haul with Ryan, and we went up to Fitchburg and gutted their closing elementary school that had some middle school size furniture. The upper elementary had some stuff that would work. So we pulled that in. We probably got 20, 30 desks, 100 plus chairs that were
Yeah, good amount of
usable.
stuff.
So,
That's really great.
yeah, it was a fun day. It was. So getting down to, we're getting into, some HVAC repairs, some updates to the electrical. We need to look at the paging system, as well as repairing the gym lighting controls. So those are those not working at all right now?
They're not working at all, so
Yeah.
we physically shut them off through the breaker at night, and then in the morning we turn the breakers on.
Yeah.
Really?
Breakers aren't intended to
For a
be your
tough
main
middle
light
school dance,
switch.
Where they
Yeah.
were trying to turn the lights off for the middle school dance, and the kids are like, turn the lights off, turn the lights off.
You gotta figure
Figure-
it.
yeah.
Really?
Monitor.
For the
Yeah.
entire gym?
For the entire gym.
I would
Yep.
say we have the funding this year, that should get fixed.
Yep.
Yeah. Yep,
That 7,000 is the quote that I received.
Yeah.
yeah.
I bet.
So we have some.
There's been a lot of conversations about the parking here. We've had some folks look at it. We have a general engineering schematic, but this is to look at updating the parking. Tohoto, both towns are going to have to agree to this if we're going to do it. There's the potential for a $100,000 grant. That's not included in the 650. So the estimate we have is somewhere over 600. I'm sure it's going to, by next year, increase beyond that. So I'm trying to be a little conservative in my approach there, and I'm not including the 100,000 grant because I'm not sure. I think the grant would be a one-year grant that I don't have any update on when and where that would be. It could be used for pre-work if we got it sooner, so that would be helpful. But
That's for
again,
70 spots, right? Is that what it is?
I thought 80.
80?
Yeah.
84, I feel like it was
Yeah.
somewhere in there.
84?
and that
Because
would be.
you had wiggle room with the handicap spots.
Okay.
Yeah.
Remember,
And that
right?
would be
84.
we looked at a couple options. We can't do a traditional pavement because of the DCR restrictions. So we looked at gravel, and then now we're looking at sort of a porous pavement. I'm not 100% sure what that is, but it's a pavement that allows for drainage, better drainage. Allegedly, it can be plowed, which is huge. My concerns with gravel was really around every time you plow gravel, you're going to end up with all those rocks in your playing field. So I'm really trying to avoid that, and we're working with that. But that's there's going to be a pretty significant process for that too. So once we do that, my recommendation is going to be to work with a design engineer to take the existing sort of plan structure, convert that into a true working plan, build specs, and then have them put it out to bid. So this would be I'm pretty well versed, and Dan is pretty well versed in some of the general procurements. This would be a big construction procurement. I think I'd want to make sure we had someone who is an expert on this. The general cost is low relative to the risk of having someone who doesn't do this every day, right? If you're a Boston, you've got a person who does this every single day. They know this like the back of their hand. I don't. It's unrealistic for a district our size. So we'd pay someone a little bit of money to make sure we follow all of the proper procurement.
Let me ask you a question. Does Berlin have any idea that this is coming down? Because I know we ran it through Boylston, right?
They were invited to a meeting. I remember watching one of the select board meetings, and it was the first that they had heard about it, but they were invited to one of your meetings. Maybe like in April of last year?
Invited to a school committee meeting or invited to?
No, the select board.
Someone from
Yeah.
Berlin came to our, didn't we walk the site?
Yeah, I think
You were there,
Peg-
Megan,
Peg
and someone
might
from
have
Peg
Berlin was
Stone.
there.
Peg Stone was there.
Peg was there, yeah.
That's right.
They're aware, but they
Yeah.
haven't been fully looped in, I don't think. And I
Like
think
the
they would probably
financial
like
piece of this as well,
Some more
too.
information
Yeah.
about what the expectation is
Yeah,
gonna be.
yeah, it's
I
gonna
think you're
be-
right, it's 80 spots plus one handicap.
Okay, 80 plus 1?
Yep.
Yeah, so for this 650,000, obviously, first
Mhm.
step is we gotta get that DCR approval. I think we have to get the application
Yeah.
signed and get that in.
Yep.
Yep.
We're
Yeah,
right
someone
there.
was working on that with the town,
That
right?
came
Or-
back,
Yeah,
we're waiting on
yeah.
a signature.
It's-
Yeah, okay,
from the
okay.
chair.
It's
Yep.
going to be on the, we're meeting actually right after this to go over the agenda, so that's
Yeah.
on my
Okay.
notes.
Yeah, I
Yep.
just wanted to
So
confirm that
then-
there wasn't
and then
anything,
she
I
will-
was
no,
pretty sure
you-
there wasn't anything I
no,
needed
not
to.
you. He needs to sign it, and then that goes,
Right on.
Chelsea said that she would submit it to DCR, and then DCR will yay or nay us, and then from there, we decide,
Yep.
how we're gonna move forward.
And how long does, like, this last for? Like, this, that we're gonna...
Right, I don't know if the
That's the
permit
question, right?
expires or not. That's a great question. I mean, like, because do we have to act this year
Yeah.
on this? To Beth's point, I
Yeah.
think that we owe Berlin at least a heads up. And, the person in Boylston that was working on this
Yeah.
is no longer on the select
Yeah.
board.
Yeah.
So I think, it's worth it, and we can talk about that later. I'd like us to set some time up to meet with these FinComs and select boards.
Yeah.
Mhm.
All of us, get off on the right foot this year. What can we do for you? What do you
Sure.
guys want from us? What's the process gonna be? Who's gonna communicate this so we're not
Yeah.
dropping any balls?
Sure.
And while we're talking about like possibly moving a town meeting here, that's a good time to
Sure.
think about,
Mhm.
loop in the conversation
agree.
about the parking
I
lot.
met with, I had a
Yeah.
meeting during the summer with Kristen in April, the three of us met, and I brought this up.
Yeah.
Because of that, and they know limited information about
Yeah,
this, right?
I think they
And
appreciate more
They, right,
information.
and it's the financial
Yeah.
obligations, like, they're like,
Right.
when are we, and I couldn't answer that question, like, is this
Yeah.
a year from now, is this 2 years, or is
We-
this 5 years from
Yeah.
now? Because
Yeah.
that's big money for their towns, and they both
Yeah.
were expressed concerns that they didn't know enough information about it right now.
Well, and just in case anyone asks, literally this number came out at that August 12th school committee meeting and was news to all of us, right? Because we didn't go and get that quote. I think that we have that woman Chelsea is volunteering her time. That's her forte, like you said, that's her expertise. She was offering her advice. She spoke with
Yeah.
some contractors and got that information. So we certainly haven't
Yeah,
done the
sure.
legwork yet and gotten the quotes, and nothing's been voted on. It's just, that was information that was provided.
But I
that
think
we-
that they were a little taken aback to even know that it was, from the meeting that I had watched
Mhm.
last year, that they were just like, are you guys gonna be coming for money, looking for parking?
Right, and so
we
that, I
definitely need to
agree.
do a better job of
Yes.
reaching out.
And my worry is, and you guys, this is more your world, but
Yeah.
like, if you're not doing this for 6 years, I'm making that number up,
Yeah.
like, what does that cost look like 6 years from now, right?
Right.
So it's 650 now, right?
Right.
For,
$1 million
if you,
in 6 years,
like, what does that look
They're not
like?
gonna need less parking in 6 years.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
Right.
That
We're
might just
also
take
going to
care
have
of
to
the
have
teacher parking
a
in
hard
6 years,
conversation
probably.
about where this sits on our priority list. Right, so
Yeah.
does this sit ahead of student devices?
Yeah.
And we need a lot of student devices. Does it sit ahead of, other things on this list? Replacing some of the lighting?
The track, right?
The track.
My biggest
We
worry,
have a track meet here.
my
yeah.
biggest worry is how long does this permit last for, right? Like, are we,
Right, we might get it and then we'd have to.
like, do you have to?
Jumping the gun and then shooting ourselves in the
Yeah,
foot.
like, all this work that this woman's doing that we're gonna sign off on, right, is this good for just 1 year? Or like, how long is this?
Yeah.
So it's just questions we don't have the answers to.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, so we definitely need to do all of our due diligence on, I think right now, nobody has lost anything, right? We've gotten all volunteers that have come forward that have volunteered their time and their expertise. They've put together a proposal. To your point, if the DCR, if we're not able to do it, it didn't cost us anything. The school district hasn't put forth any money, really minimal time, just a few volunteers. You guys have spent
Right.
a little bit of your time working on it,
Yeah.
right? But nothing major. So at this point, if it doesn't work out, we haven't lost anything. But at least we've gained at least having the knowledge. So I do think that we need to put some time and due diligence and decide. This is not an easy
Yep.
yes or no. I totally agree with Beth. I think extensive conversations need to be had with these towns because
Yep.
this money it's got to come from them. We're not going to be able to dig somewhere and find this in our budget. This is something that has to come from both of them.
So when I'm saying this publicly, when I sit with both town managers and I know limited information about this, right, with April
Yeah.
and Kristen, it was like, and the three of us are in this room, and I know limited as well too, so I think we need to get everyone in the room together and start
Yes,
talking about
yeah.
this, and seeing, to Aaron's point, where is it set on priorities? Because I know the town of Berlin, has priorities, April has priorities as
Right,
well too, so,
exactly.
like, where does this
Might
fit?
not fit,
Yeah, but,
but it's worth a discussion. So
yes,
anyways.
agreed.
And I like Aaron, I think you're correct in adding it on here, because we want everything on this paper, whether we're gonna move forward or not.
Yeah, I'd like
at this
to
point.
have everything on here regardless of where the funding's coming from. If it's not operating, like, it has to sit somewhere, and I want to make sure everyone has a heads up. So it doesn't necessarily mean that we may not find a better way to do something later and do it for $1,000 instead of $100. You'll notice the building automation system we pulled off, we actually found a way to upgrade the server software that bypassed sort of the need to upgrade the full system. That may be coming down the road to do a bigger upgrade, but the software update at least took care of what we needed for the moment. And we'll continue to try to do that. We want to also present this as kind of sometimes a worst case scenario for things coming up when we're not 100% sure what we have coming. I'd rather you be shocked in a good way than a bad way.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, the only other item, again, devices are going to be a big item. Joe and I have some conversation around phone system. This phone system is an IP phone system. It's original to the building, so there's going to be some upgrading that's going to need to be going on. And if we're going to make this a hub and spoke model, we'd have to upgrade this system a bit. So, some of that money is looking at that forward. Is it essential that it happens this year? No, that could probably get pushed off a little bit. But the devices, when you look at that, and probably the firewall are really pretty urgent.
I want to just go back to this parking. I mean, it is definitely needs to be a priority, especially Beth, what you're saying, if this is where we're going to be doing. But like, it's a safety thing here as well too. Like, I forgot what event I was just at this last week. But when it was all over, like, everyone left, there were cars that were down there.
Professional Development Day.
That's what it was.
When I left at lunch, I was like,
That's
there's
what
a
it was.
random
That's
car,
right,
like,
that's
parked
right.
all the
Thank
way
you.
down there.
It's been all blurred, right? It's like, they
You're
were
right.
just
And that's
two.
just staff, that's not even with students
That's
in the
right.
building.
That's 3 school
Right, right.
staff.
So the
it.
cars were down there all by themselves, and then it's just,
Yeah.
and they're
Imagine at
walking.
night, high
exactly,
school kids.
all of that. So I think it's
No
definitely
lights, yeah.
in safety. God forbid someone.
On that road,
That's
someone
right.
get killed.
That's
Yep,
right.
yep.
And people are
And
flying.
it's illegal to back out onto a highway.
That's right.
So these
So-
people pull in and then they're backing out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's definitely, we need to get our homework done before we go to like Kristen and April and say, like, this is the reason why. Like, these are examples why we need this, because I'm sure the town of Berlin, the town of Boston, there are some residents saying, why are we putting money into the parking lot when there's certainly other things, that's a harder story to tell as opposed to saying we need Chromebooks and things like that.
You just start like taking pictures at the events.
Yep.
and
It's just letting people
documenting it.
at a town meeting be able to tell the story why we need.
Graduation.
Parking
All
is
of
parking is a
When we
persistent.
rent the building, like when we rent the
Yes,
auditorium. like,
100%.
People are parked out.
Yeah.
So.
Yes. The
Yeah.
dance recital is here for Jazzy Acts. I don't know if your daughter, if you
Yeah.
girls dance, but my daughter dances and they started doing the recital here, which is great. It's wonderful. But the parking is awful. So you've got grandma and grandpa and, aunts and uncles and people that aren't from around here. They don't
Yep.
realize that people fly down Route 70 at
They're
65,
walking
70
down.
miles an hour.
Yeah.
Yes, and
Scary.
they actually have 2 recitals. They have one during the day and one in the evening, so.
My point is, we just have to tell a story, right? Because
Yeah.
people just saying doing a parking lot is like, why is that a priority? I think we just need to tell a story.
I'm just curious, do you know how much we make from renting out the space, like per year?
I mean, I can pull a facilities report. I don't know
Just like
offhand. I don't
roughly.
have it in
I
front
mean,
of
is
me.
it
I mean,
significant?
Or
I
even
don't
keeping
know.
track of
40,
people that put in
50,000 a
request
year
and then don't
total
follow
among all
through. We don't
schools and
have-
What did you
everything.
say?
40, 50,000 a year, maybe, all schools, all inclusive.
They waive the
Um,
fees, like the dance studio is a town thing, like they do
Yeah.
Keith's House of Music does his concert here, but
Just the
like,
number of things we waive.
I mean, like, that's what I'm saying, it's community, it's, so for
Yeah.
whoever's, if we come up with the money for the parking through the taxes, it's all community events, I think,
We waive a lot.
there's a, that's,
It's not
yeah.
wrong.
We
like,
waive a lot.
There's all the local
But then
stuff.
Jazz Yags, they
Yeah,
they
you're
choreograph
absolutely
the
right.
musical.
Exactly.
She comes out, she
And
choreographs
her-
the musical, and then
yes,
Keith
it's
comes
all
out and
community.
he DJs Field
Yeah.
Day. So it's like,
Yes,
it's
at all the
always a
schools,
yin
yes,
and a yang.
yes, yes.
This year we
It's-
made some good money, right, through Apple TV, right? So we made some,
Yeah, there we go.
some huge
Yeah,
money
that's
there,
huge.
right?
Yeah.
Did not
$12,000.
waive the fees for that.
I did not waive
Yeah.
the fees
That's
at all.
waive the fees, yes.
Yeah, in fact,
Yep.
in
Yeah, it's
fact,
the
Al
same
negotiated
kids.
us more than fees,
Yeah.
so. But didn't get me a role.
No, no one,
Aaron.
no, I know.
Nobody got one.
Huh?
We're gonna, it's gonna come out, it's gonna be like starring Al.
Al, you could be in it.
I had a front row seat to the end, though. It was excellent. Quite
So
impressive.
that covers pretty much everything. The plan is also to share this with school committee. I think as this evolves, I'd like to, it's a Google Doc, a Google Sheet. I'd like to share it with school committee members, share it with the town administrators so they have access to this. Dan has access to this. He can add things, can make any changes if he sees fit. The same with all of the principals. They can all go in. So this is a living document. It changes on a regular basis. No one's putting anything in particularly for this year without letting me know, right? Because that would be really hard.
You
But
should own this document.
yeah,
and-
we're all,
Yeah.
but we're all partners in this. It's
Yeah.
not I just want to make it clear, this isn't just me saying this is what we're doing. It's a group project. And and hopefully it'll be successful because it's a group project, right?
Yeah, this is great. Thank you
Yeah.
so
Sure.
much. I think
Absolutely.
this is awesome. I love this document. This is how I understand things, so I think this
Sure.
is very clear. It's easy to understand.
Mhm. Good.
So one thing I'm taking away from this is I think that maybe one of the goals of this group, our budget subcommittee, is to maybe take ownership of some of these bigger things and try to work on communicating with the towns, in whatever way that we're able to,
Yeah.
to make sure that it's on everyone's radar and, and there's no surprises, and it's not just a shoving it down their throat. It's saying, what do you guys think? Because the towns at the end of the day are also looking out for their residents as well. So I think their input is very valid, and then taking all that and kind of, going to school committee with recommendations. So I think that should be a goal of the group, to take some of these larger items and try to figure out how we can make them happen, or if we even want to make them happen. So we're not sitting on the school committee floor and people are being like, well, what do the towns think? Well, what is this and what is that? Like, to your point, well, I have no information on this. We don't want to get to that point where we're voting on something and we don't have the information. So that's the goal of this group, is to do that legwork ahead of the budget meeting and ahead of when, Aaron is presenting it, so that when questions come up, we have some type of answers, oh yeah, I talked to, April, and we spoke with this, we went to this FinCom meeting and Berlin is aware, or Boylston is aware, and this is where the money would come from, and this is the grant, and,
This way they can help tell the story. It's not just us telling that
Exactly.
story, right?
It's- yeah,
So,
working-
like, people asking, April and Kristen about the parking lot and not really knowing much about it, it's not helping tell a story.
okay, so that's good. This was helpful, I think this
Yep.
is great, and, all right, and thank you.
Of course.
Okay, so next, 'cause we've got a little bit of.
Aaron and I got about 5 more minutes
Yeah.
before we have another meeting at
So
3.
we'll save, real quick, I just want to talk about, we'll talk, Lisa, the three of us can finish up on the mission statement. I don't think you guys need to be there for that,
Perfect.
that's just,
Okay.
I did want to run something by Al.
Go ahead, read
Yeah.
it.
So you had mentioned last time that we should wrap the mission and the vision into it. And I was just thinking, if we do that for all of the subcommittees, it's just, it seems like it's gonna get, but it seems like almost like it's gonna be like repetitive. And when if we are presenting all of the subcommittees, like that could be maybe broken out at the top, you know,
Sure.
in line with all of this, like these subcommittees are, I don't know.
So we're working on a strategic plan. You'll know more about it on Tuesday's school committee meeting. Like, we're gonna do a mission and vision for the entire district. Very similar to, we just had our first couple days of professional learning for our staff. Everyone in this district has the same goal, right? We have 2 goals that we've put forward that everyone in this entire district is going to use as their goals for the year. Teachers, principals, everybody. Superintendent, and then how they're reaching that goal is going to look different. So I think, I love the idea that you want to have a mission statement for here. I would tell you, just hang on a little bit until you see what the mission vision is for the strategic plan, because that will be the overarching. And then you're not creating that in isolation.
Right.
The mission and vision for the strategic plan is going to be from the community, from our seniors, from our students, from our parents, from children, everybody will create that mission and vision. Aaron and I did it in Hampton Wilbraham. It's a lot. Like, you think you're gonna get in a room and you got a lot of people in there trying to create that. It's a lot, and the wording is so important. Once that's created, that will help you guys with creating yours as well too. Or you just adopt the same one and say,
Oh, well, that's kind of what I thought you said last time. Like, it
Yes.
should be wrapped, the overall one should be wrapped into
yes,
this. Then-
absolutely. So I ask you just to hang on a little bit till we get that work done, and it's starting next month. Actually, this month is
So
September.
then we won't
Laurie, I would send this, Laurie wanted something for the handbook that I think we're voting on. Like, she wants, this is more simple than a mission statement.
Okay.
I think she had requested, it might even be for the superintendent search. I can't
Just like
remember.
what our purpose
It's
is.
what is, so if
Why do we
somebody is
exist?
looking at us and they're like, well, what does the budget subcommittee do? And Lisa just so simply, and she wrote like 3 sentences, and they're it's very good. So go ahead, Lisa, read what
Yeah.
you wrote real quick, because I think this is perfect, and I'm fine with sending this to Laurie and letting her add this. Go ahead, why don't you read?
Okay, well, it's more than 3 sentences, 'cause there's 3 bullets.
3 bullets,
But-
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, but there's like a sentence before that. All right, the Budget Facilities and Safety Subcommittee of the Berlin-Boylston School Committee is established to provide focused oversight, informed recommendations, and strategic guidance on matters related to the financial planning, physical infrastructure, and safety of our school district. The subcommittee works in collaboration with the superintendent, director of finance and operations, and member towns to, and then the bullet points, review and support the development of the annual school budget aligned with educational goals and fiscal responsibility, assess facility needs to ensure that school buildings and grounds are safe, functional, and conducive to learning, and then promote and monitor policies and practices that ensure the safety and well-being of students, staff, and visitors.
That's perfect for
nice.
the handbook, right? If
That-
we need something,
Right.
that is exactly what we're supposed to be doing.
That's your purpose.
If I.
It's something just for us to do for this year. I get we're gonna have the strategic plan, and
Yep.
but that's a year from now. This is gonna give us some guidance this year.
Yep.
I
Sorry.
think it doesn't need to be etched in stone as well.
Right.
I mean, that's great, a great general statement, fantastic, in fact. If you guys see the mission and vision of the district come across, you're like, oh, we should have added that,
Sure.
add it.
Yep.
Or we
Right.
should change this, change it. Don't feel shy about that. Like, it's not etched in stone, it's a living
That's your purpose,
document.
right? Mission and vision
Yeah.
here, what's
Right.
your purpose, what
Yeah.
you're doing, right?
And that's what we needed, just for,
Just the
she was
simple,
trying, a purpose,
yeah,
yeah,
like, what are we
she's
doing?
trying
Purpose, what
to
your work is.
compile what each subcommittee does, so somebody that's coming
Yep.
into us like, ours is pretty obvious, but this kind of very clearly states.
It's great.
Right, so I
Well
think that's
done.
good.
Well done. Yep, excellent.
All right,
excellent.
perfect.
Very good.
All right, so we didn't get to the calendar, you guys have to leave, so what I'll do is, we have a regular meeting in October. So real quick, if you have 2 minutes.
When do you have that scheduled, real quick?
October 14th is
So-
our
so-
Okay.
regular meeting is
That
October
shouldn't be a
14th.
problem. Yep.
So if you guys want to meet the week before that,
So the only thing I'm gonna ask you is, so on our end, it's sort of getting difficult, right? So
Yes.
today, we have a meeting in budget, tomorrow we have a meeting for technology, tomorrow at 3:30, right? So like, I think.
With the
everyone-
subcommittees?
With the subcommittees, and I'm gonna talk about this at school committee meeting, like you gotta, there's not bullet people, but there's point people that you have to work with. Like, so for the technology one, right? You got to be working with Joe and looking at that piece and creating agendas together and trying to get it on the calendar so they don't back up to each other so
Yes, we
closely.
should do it, we should look at the calendar all together.
That's right.
So do you want me to kind of work, I can be the liaison and I can work with Beth and Lisa and then come back to Aaron and we can back up and maybe Jen can?
Yes.
Okay.
If you loop Jen in it,
Okay.
then Jen is
Okay.
also working with Jessica, putting the technology. And so that
So
they're all.
Jen, is this day good? So if I come up with the ones that we agree, I think we had said like the Wednesday before the school committee meeting.
Sure.
Can I agree? Can you put this on and make sure it's not, because you guys should not be running from, like.
That's right.
I don't want you to be spending every day doing this.
And the part that, so Aaron's on this one, but then like Jen and I have to make sure that your minutes, your notes, we're gonna get that in time for school committee, if you want in time for school committee, right?
If we're rushing these before the meeting, we're actually like putting a ton of work
On
on
us.
the people that need to
On-
get
on
everything
us.
ready
Like-
for the meeting.
Like
minutes,
Friday at
yeah.
3:30 is a tough
Yeah.
time, I'm saying that publicly, for getting principals and admin tomorrow, like trying to get all that in, so we can get it in time for Tuesday, so it's just hard for us.
Right, and then
In
I've-
48 hours, trying to get it posted and get that stuff in the drive for you guys.
Right, and then I'll have to get these minutes done and get them back to Jen for Monday if that's in the consent agenda. It doesn't necessarily have to be on the consent agenda for the next meeting.
Sure.
It's just, and maybe we meet 2 weeks before, but let's take that offline because you guys have another meeting and I don't, this is not,
As
it's
long as
just
it's
deciding what.
consistent would be fantastic.
Yes.
Like, so we know it's the third Tuesday or the second
And if
Wednesday,
going-
and we have a time. That's
And all this,
fantastic.
right, you know, as a school committee, you should be looking at all this, right, and saying, these are the times, and if it's consistent for, even for technology, like, you know, and if you book them all, and even if you don't need them, they're at least there, and everybody knows it's better for the Britneys, they're better for Jens, everyone knows when
Yeah.
these meetings are, right, and they're put in calendars, we can put them on our district-wide calendar, so people aren't looking from, it's 1 week it's here, next month it's here.
Yeah.
It's just hard for people to do
Is
something.
morning or afternoon better for you guys? Or are you guys just out straight all day?
No, but we
Al's
love
probably
yours
like,
during
every
the,
day.
we love yours during the day, right? So that's a plus for us.
During the day is utterly fantastic.
Why, are there some at night?
Just anything that's like in this time frame is great.
Okay,
Yep. And then also not only that, but it's the logistics of finding a location, finding a room, making
Right,
sure,
right.
like, we had to kick someone out of here today to make sure we had a spot for us to do it in. So it's all of that as well too. So there's a lot of logistics that Jen and I are doing on the back end of this, trying to get it ready. And I'm not whining about or complaining,
no,
just that,
you're
just,
making a
It's
super,
awesome.
super valid point that you guys shouldn't be spending, 3 hours a week on subcommittee meetings, and some of the subcommittee meetings, again, I want us to take some stuff off of your plate, you know what I mean? Like, some of the stuff, like Beth made an excellent point about Berlin doesn't know about the parking lot. What can we do? Can we go to a meeting at night and do that,
Sure.
instead of you guys having to worry about that?
And not
Can
only,
we-
we can-
you're
you know
putting
what I'm
stuff
saying?
on the
Like-
agenda, which is fine here, because it's just Aaron and Dan and whatever, but some of those other agendas you're creating, I have to get those people, like, who's talking about this, right? And I'm gonna talk about this all at school committee, but do I have to bring a principal in? Do I have to bring the assistant principals in at the middle school here? Do I have to bring the elementary principals in? All of that is
one's a little
is
easier.
figured, this one's easier. No
This one
offense.
is- it's
This
always
one's
gonna be
easier.
these two.
That's right,
Yeah.
this one's
Everyone.
easier,
We
but
might
the
bring in a
the
wild
others
card every now
aren't.
and then,
But if we're
I'm
talking
pretty
about
good.
even like
Yeah.
capital, and we want to have Lisa talk to us about what she's looking for.
Yeah.
Like, it's just negotiating all that stuff that behind the scenes that we just need to be a little mindful of, that's all.
All right, so I'll serve as the liaison on that. I'll get with these two. We'll figure out,
Mm-hmm.
and then I'll send it to Jen, Aaron, and you, and Dan, and make sure your schedules, because that's the
Super
last thing I
reasonable.
want is.
And
I
then
don't want
Jen
this to be
throws
a
it on
burden.
everyone's calendar,
Yes.
right? Here it is, she'll put it on your
Yep.
calendars, and do invites to all you guys. Because besides this, and I know this is budget, we're also doing custodian negotiations, like, we don't have that much of an admin team to spread them out as much as they
I
can, so
know.
that's just know that.
All three of us are on negotiations
That's it,
for
we are,
custodial too.
we are.
That's the other funny thing, yeah.
Yep,
So we're
absolutely.
balancing that.
Okay.
Sorry, okay, all right, so could I have a motion, all right, so do we need a motion to, I think we are fine to just send that to Laurie, right, that wording?
I think
I'm probably
it
making that-
sounds great.
Okay, all right, could I have a motion to
Fantastic.
adjourn the
Yeah, I can
meeting?
go.
So moved.
We're good.
Second.
All right, all in favor?